Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by deep forests and rolling hills, there lived a great king who loved to ride and hunt among the wild places of his realm. Though he was brave and strong, his greatest joy was his family, 6 sons and 1 daughter, all fair and noble, each more dear to him than the treasures of his crown.
You can't catch me!
Wait for us.
Their mother had died when they were young, and the king kept them hidden in a castle deep within the forest, safe from the envy and danger of the court. Every week he rode there to visit, bringing gifts and laughter. The forest rang with the sound of his children's joy. But one day, while the king was hunting, he lost his way among the twisting paths. Night fell, and he came upon a lonely hut where an old woman lived. She offered him shelter, and when dawn came, he saw that she had a beautiful daughter, pale as snow, with eyes like green glass. The king was struck by her beauty, and in his loneliness forgot caution. He brought her back to his castle and made her his queen. But though her face was fair, her heart was cruel. The new queen was skilled in witchcraft, and she soon grew jealous of the children whom the king loved so dearly. She said to him, "If you truly love me, you must bring your sons and daughter to the palace. A father should not hide his children away." The king hesitated, fearing for his children's safety, but at last he yielded. He sent a carriage to bring them to the royal court. When the 7 children arrived, the queen smiled sweetly, but her eyes glittered with envy. They were so handsome and kind that the courtiers praised them without end, and this only deepened her bitterness. She muttered to herself, "They are too perfect, too beloved. They will steal the king's heart from me."
Tell me where they go when they are alone.
So she sought out an old servant and bribed him to tell her where the children played when they were alone. The next morning she followed them secretly to a quiet garden by the river. There she spread out a white linen cloth and whispered strange words over it, weaving a spell. When the children stepped onto the cloth, a blinding light surrounded them, and in the next moment, 6 great white swans spread their wings and rose into the sky, their cries echoing over the garden. Only the youngest, the daughter, was spared, for she had not stepped upon the enchanted cloth in time. When the king returned and found his sons gone, the queen feigned sorrow.
Daughter! They have run away, my lord.
They were wild. I could not keep them.
She said, "They have run away, my lord," she weeping false tears. "They were wild and disobedient. I could not control them." The king searched the forest for days, calling their names until his voice broke, but he found no trace of them. Only the princess knew the truth. She had seen the queen's witchcraft with her own eyes. Terrified and heartbroken, she fled the castle that very night, determined to find her brothers and break the curse. She ran through the forest until dawn, her feet bleeding, her gown torn by thorns, and though fear gnawed at her, she never gave up. After many days, she came to a deep, dark lake surrounded by tall willows. The air was still, and the water shimmered like silver. As the sun began to set, she saw 6 great white swans flying toward her, their wings glowing in the fading light. Her heart leapt. They landed upon the water, and as the last rays of the sun touched the lake, the feathers fell from their bodies, and there stood 6 young men, her brothers, unchanged but weary, dressed in white shirts as thin as mist. She ran to them, crying with joy, "My brothers, I have found you at last!" They embraced her, weeping and laughing. But as the sun sank fully, they cried out and turned once more into swans, their voices lost in the night wind. When morning came, they stood before her again in human form, and the eldest said, "Little sister, you have done what no one else would. We are bound by our stepmother's spell. By day we are swans, by night men. Only at sunset and sunrise may we take our true shapes."
My brothers, I have found you at last.
"Is there no way to break the curse?" she asked. The youngest brother looked at her with sorrow. He said, "There is a way, but it is hard beyond imagining. You must remain silent for 6 whole years, not speaking, not laughing, not crying, and in that time you must sew 6 shirts of starwort. Only when we wear them will we be free. But if you speak even a single word before the task is done, all will be lost, and we shall die forever." The princess's heart trembled, but she nodded. "I will do it," she whispered. "I will save you, whatever it costs me." From that day forward, the princess made her home in the forest. She found a hidden cave near the lake and began her work. She gathered starwort, a pale green flower with leaves soft as silk, and spun its fibers into thread. She spoke not a word, no matter how the wind cried in the trees or the wolves howled at night. Her hands bled from thorns, and her eyes grew weary, but she never faltered. The swans came to her each evening, resting beside her in silence. They brushed their wings against her shoulders, as if to remind her of their faith. Seasons passed. Spring turned to summer, summer to winter, and still she worked, silent, steadfast, alone. One morning, while she was gathering starwort near the edge of the forest, hunters rode by, the retinue of a young king from a neighboring realm. They saw the girl in her rough gown, her golden hair tangled, her lips silent, and thought her a spirit of the woods. But when they drew near, they saw the kindness in her eyes and led her to their king. The young king looked upon her and was struck by her beauty and her gentle bearing. He asked her name.
"Lady, what is your name?"
But she only bowed her head, unable to speak.
"You need not speak. I see truth in your eyes."
"If you cannot speak, it matters not," he said kindly. "I see truth in your eyes. You shall come with me, and I will make you my queen." So she was carried to his castle, dressed in fine silks and crowned beside him. Though she could not speak, her grace won the hearts of all. Only one person in the court watched her with suspicion: the old queen, her king's mother, a cold and jealous woman who whispered, "No one knows whence she came. Perhaps she is bewitched." The queen worked in secret, still gathering starwort and stitching the shirts by candlelight. She had finished 5, and the 6th was nearly done. But her silence began to stir unease in the court. When her first child was born, the king's mother took him away and whispered lies. "Your silent queen has bewitched the babe. She means to destroy you and your house." The king refused to believe her, but doubt clouded his heart. When the second child was born, the same cruel thing happened. Again, the old queen stole the baby and accused the young mother of dark magic. Still, the princess said nothing. She could not, for her brothers' lives hung upon her silence. At last, after the third child vanished, The people demanded justice. They cried, "She is a witch! She must burn!"
She has bewitched him with her silence!
A witch! A witch!
And the young king, though torn by love and sorrow, could not protect her against the fury of his court. And so it was decreed. The silent queen would be burned at the stake on the morning of the 6th year's end. The night before her execution, the queen sat in her cell, pale but calm. Only one sleeve remained to finish the 6th shirt. Her fingers worked swiftly, weaving the last strands of starwort as dawn approached.
If you were innocent, you would speak.
When she was led to the pyre, she carried the shirts in her arms. The crowd jeered, but she kept her eyes on the rising sun.
It is justice, my son.
Just as the flames were lit, a great cry sounded above. 6 great white swans swept down from the sky, their wings flashing in the morning light. She threw the shirts over them, one by one. And as each shirt touched a swan, feathers fell away and human form returned. But the youngest brother's sleeve was missing, for the last shirt was unfinished. His right arm remained a swan's wing. Still, they were free. The princess, her vow at last fulfilled, cried out, "Now I may speak! My brothers are saved!" The crowd fell silent, and the king ran to her, embracing her with tears. She told him the whole truth of her stepmother's curse, her long silence, and her love for her brothers. At her words, the false accusations crumbled. The old queen confessed her cruelty and was banished forever. And the missing children, the stolen babies, were found alive, hidden by the jealous woman in a distant convent. They were returned to their mother, and the land rejoiced. The king and his true queen ruled together in peace and love. Her brothers became brave knights, serving their sister's husband with loyalty. And though the youngest bore forever the wing of a swan in place of his arm, he said, smiling, "I will keep it as a reminder of our sister's courage and the power of silence born from love." And whenever the wind blew through the palace gardens, it sounded faintly like the rustle of swans' wings upon water, a gentle whisper of the promise she had kept.